I want to know that I approached the mayor over a year ago and asked him, and I told him that I was concerned about the conditions of our downtown operations. I wasn't worried that he would understand that, because I think I first met a much darker-headed Carl Dean in those jails about 25 years ago. I was darker-headed too, by the way. I knew he understood the criminal justice system, and more importantly, the criminal justice center. He had been in it and he was aware of it, and as he mentioned, he has supported public safety like no other mayor. And at this time in his term and coming to the end, it was my goal to get his attention to try to do something about it now. He not only listened to me, but he then funded over $1 million to study not just the Criminal Justice Center, but the long-range plan for what is the criminal justice system. All of our facilities that are in the downtown area, and of course the police department. That study funded what were the consultants and the experts who spent over a year and a tremendous amount of time turning up everything we do, every facility we operate, and have laid out a plan for us to consider today. That plan didn't surprise a lot of us who live in and out of the Criminal Justice Center, the staff who work there every day. But I think it's important to point out some of the things that were documented. It's clear that all of our facilities have reached their end of life. As the mayor mentioned, the 33-year-old Criminal Justice Center has been much overused in those 33 years. As we sit here today, we have no fire alarm system in the building. We have officers who are having to walk in and out of cell blocks to see if they smell or see fire. We can do much better. That is not repairable. It is antiquated. The system is not able to be fixed. The media has well documented this last several years several of our plumbing failures, and these aren't small things. Unfortunately, it's not the rain that causes that failure. It also shuts down our operation. We no longer can book prisoners and release prisoners during that time. It's a very difficult and dangerous time for the folks who live here and, of course, the folks who work here. Our complete electrical system is outdated in the building. You cannot buy parts. It is held together with Band-Aids and bubble gum. There are issues pertaining to the security in that building that I cannot talk about today for the risk that it puts the staff and inmates at even further risk. The plan not only points out all the problems that we feel, but also a solution. We've all lived through the last several years of watching the Metro Police Department move into a decentralization model, moving precincts into the community, which is the way it ought to be. But in our branch of law enforcement, centralizing our services is the way we need to be. We are on 8 different places today. We need to be centralized, and as the report points out, there are efficiencies built into that. The savings to our agency alone in centralizing what we do is somewhere between $2 and $3 million in staff alone. The maintenance and utility costs by centralizing us is estimated at over $1 million. And putting us on the same campus allows us to share services like laundry and kitchen for feeding, as you can imagine, over 1 million meals a year. We believe centralizing is the efficient thing to do. It also increases our public safety. We will now have 1 secure campus to secure, much simpler to do than 3 spread all over Nashville. We would dramatically decrease the number of inmate movements all over the streets and highways of our town. 12 years ago, after having been elected sheriff, one of the goals I had was to try to find and remove the duplication of services between us and the police department. One of the things we focused a lot of our energy on was the booking process. We implemented 2 mobile booking units out in the streets of our town to try to get the police officers back into their zones, to reduce the downtime that creates. I have worked here for a long time, and some 25 years ago, when you booked all arrestees downtown, it could take nearly the entire shift of the arresting officer before they would get out of booking. We have worked aggressively in trying to reduce that time, and the mobile units now reduce that to 19 minutes per arrestee. It takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 minutes to do it downtown today. I think Chief Anderson is going to deal with this in detail. Our goal is to reduce the downtime of police officers, and this plan allows us to do just that. It not only benefits the police officers, but it benefits everyone who visits and uses our facilities, the families of all the inmates. It's unfortunate that they have to come downtown in sometimes a very difficult situation to traffic and pay to park and walk inside this facility that was never designed for a quality exchange between a family member and a person who is in custody. It also improves the access for our attorneys, who, as you can imagine, use our services regularly. And most important to me, it improves it for our employees. This plan, although we've tried to keep it secret, has leaked out internally. I've had officers walk up to me and say, "Thank you for the raise." And I wasn't really sure of exactly what they were talking about, but you have to understand, when you drive down here and work in this jail, and tomorrow if we get to move, and hypothetically moving down to the Harding Place site, they no longer have to pay to park. And some of these folks, as you can imagine, are trying to make their life in public safety, and anything we can do to improve the morale of that person is important to me. So the benefits and the solutions of us centralizing and moving across town, I think, benefit all. And in closing, I just want you to remember this. The report documents it. We live it every day, and the mayor indicated it just a minute ago. Doing nothing is not an option. Consolidating all of our operations in the south side of Nashville is the most cost-effective for us all. And this will set the sheriff's office up and our infrastructure for the next 30 years. I'd like to ask Chief Anderson to come up and deliver his remarks. Thank you.